Hello everybody, I'm Elwirfy and today we're going to be just going over this video that this small YouTuber made. The small YouTuber, of course, is The Silent Lounge. We're going to go ahead and give him a big old subscribe. Always try and subscribe to your small content creators. It really does help out every single person, including myself. And we're just going to go over this guy's review. I did read this already. Feel free to pause and read, or heck, go to the video and read what he says yourself. I wanted to go ahead and react to this particular commentary because I thought it was interesting. And obviously I'm going to give my own takes on it. And of course I encourage you to watch the original video as well to show this guy all the support you can get.
Guests, this is the host of the Silent Lounge, and today I want to continue the discussion on Killing Floor 3. I played the beta, I talked about changes it needed to make, and now I'm making a video for the developers at Tripwire Interactive. Are they going to see this video? If they are smart, they will.
Well, that's I hope they see my videos too. I think we're all kind of wishfully thinking, everyone who's in the Killing Floor community who's making videos about this, I think we're all hoping that they'll see this. However, I will, just to preempt this whole video and any video that you see me make about this subject, I have no expectation that the higher ups, like if the people above Tripwire, are going to do anything to change the game at all, especially since the beta is very close to being released. I'd be very surprised if they make the changes needed, but hey, let's try and stay hopeful and see if they actually listen to player feedback.
Or we'll start listening to the community that has been actively making their voices heard through Reddit, Discord, and other forms of social media.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Tripwire recently made a Twitter or cross post canceling the Killing Floor 3 live stream. They acknowledged that people are not pleased with Killing Floor 3 and are working on a detailed action plan to address it. Killing Floor 3 has less than a month before it releases, and it's impossible to resolve all its problems within that time frame. That's why I'm hoping that Tripwire Interactive delays the game.
I will point out, and this is something that other people have mentioned, I believe, that the beta is from an older build. So the one saving grace I have, the only reason I have some hope, is that I'm hoping that the build that we got for the beta is actually not the current version, and that they have a more current version, which is more stable, and hopefully will already fixing some of the issues that people are giving for feedback. But if the beta is pretty much what we're getting, then we're in a lot of trouble. And yes, the game absolutely needs to be delayed, 100%.
I've read multiple comments from the previous video, and surprisingly, numerous people want Tripwire to cancel Killing Floor 3. While I do not like many aspects of Killing Floor 3, I do not believe it deserves to be cancelled.
And I agree with that. I don't think you need to cancel the game either. You just need to fix it. There's nothing wrong with making a third game. Like, I would love to have a Killing Floor 3 that improves on what we already had. But the problem is that right now Killing Floor 3 is either taking away or replacing things that we liked about Killing Floor 1 and Killing Floor 2. So it's losing its identity. If they kept the same core mechanics and then built upon it, like maybe you still have your perks and you go back to the weight limit, you put ammo and loot drops on the ground, but then you also add the attachment system, you add more customization for characters, so you still get your monetization scheme. Like, you can do things so that way we would want to play it. But the problem is they're switching to where they want to sell you specialists, which is a bad idea, because that's limiting player choice and player freedom, especially for a PvE game. That really doesn't make sense.
Nobody wins when a game gets cancelled. The players miss out on an experience, and a publisher loses money and will have to let people go.
Right.
It is not our fault that these publishers and devs continue to make the wrong choices when developing video games, but we should at least give them a chance to try to redeem themselves.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm still trying to be optimistic in hopes that they will fix it. I hope that they fix the game. The problem is I'm just concerned about how far they already are at this point in development if they don't delay it.
Hear me out for a second. I am not defending Tripwire Interactive for the choices they made for Killing Floor 3.
Oh, I know.
Their choices are the reason we are in this situation right now. They chose not to listen to the fans and made the core gameplay of Killing Floor into a live service first-person shooter. No one wanted it, and we all said we didn't like it, so they gave it to us anyway.
And that's the core of the issue, is that because Tripwire got bought out by the other company, I have a feeling that this parent company doesn't care about the fans or player feedback, doesn't know anything about Killing Floor. They're very disconnected. It's kind of the whole feeling that I got from my understanding of how things are going.
After all the backlash that came after the release of the beta, they canceled a livestream event and planned a roadmap to address people's criticisms. This is a great sign because that means that they are listening. What Tripwire Interactive does now is vital to the survival of Killing Floor 3. That is why I want to hear them out and see the roadmap. Cyberpunk 2077 had one of the worst launches in gaming, and then they were able to have one of the greatest comebacks in gaming.
Yeah, and a roadmap is important, but I think it's important to remember that even games that get roadmaps don't always follow their roadmaps. Sometimes things get delayed and messed up. I mean, sometimes games get lost. A roadmap alone is not good enough for me. I need to actually see the changes go into effect before, like, you can't just like put out a roadmap and then everything's fine. Plus, typically, if a game is putting out a roadmap, that would mean that they don't have a full game yet. Like, if you're, like, I've talked about this in another video, but I feel like people haven't really understood this concept. There's a huge difference between DLC and an expansion pack. Take a game like StarCraft, for example. I know, super different genre. StarCraft, the original one, released in 1998, came out and was just a whole standalone game and was made in its completion in its entirety, and it was made with no intention of there being any more games after that. Then we got Brood War, which was an expansion pack to the original game. It was additional features and mechanics and units that got added in after a full game was created. Let's compare that to DLC. The way we think about DLC is typically content that could have been in the main game that is intentionally left out. To me, that's the distinction I make between an expansion pack and a DLC. When I see a roadmap, that tells me they already know everything they want to put into the game, and they're choosing to split it up and break it down. So I'd be really concerned about DLC. I wish we could go back to expansion packs, but that's not a thing anymore. That's dead. It's been replaced by DLC. But DLC is a worse version of expansion packs. So when the Silent Launcher is talking about like his confidence in a roadmap, I would just be concerned if the roadmap is even something that we can trust.
Can Killing Floor 3 have that same kind of redemption arc? It's possible, but Tripwire needs more time.
That's true.
How much time will Tripwire need? I do not know how much time they will need to make Killing Floor 3 the game the fans want, but I can imagine the game being delayed until fall 2025 or next year.
Sure.
In my last Killing Floor video, I addressed areas that needed the most improvement, which included the progression system, the gunplay, and the HUD. With those things in mind, could Tripwire fix these issues within a year?
It's very likely. I do want to put in a quick thing. I don't personally have an aesthetic issue with the HUD, although I do wish they wouldn't like put the buttons down next to it. And I don't know. I have no problem with the HUD design itself. I just think it's aesthetic, so I wouldn't count that specific issue as a critical thing that needs to be fixed. The gunplay, the animations, the mechanics, there's so many more things. Like it's nothing against him, but like I just don't think the HUD is worth making a top priority thing that we need to fix.
Yes, it is possible. However, money is a factor in this discussion. How much would it cost to fix these issues? How much would it cost to take another year to develop?
I don't know.
Video game budgets have inflated a lot over the past couple of years. And when a game sells poorly, the studio responsible for making that game takes a huge financial hit.
I know.
Resulting in employees getting laid off.
Yep.
Tripwire is in a tough situation and canceling a game is not an option.
I don't expect them to cancel the game. I'd be shocked if they did, actually. That'd be a really bad move.
If Tripwire delays Killing Floor 3, the budget will increase, and there is no guarantee that the game will sell well enough to justify the risk.
That's true of any video game, though. I don't think that's a valid reason to... Like, I'm not trying to disagree with them intentionally, just so you know. I'm just kind of giving my thoughts. I don't think that there's ever a reason for a studio to cancel its game development unless they see a net loss in what it costs to get the game out versus what they expect to get back. But if they make a game where they don't listen to player feedback, then we're not going to buy it. So then there's no point.
If they release the game without fixing any of the problems and keep it roughly the same as the beta with improved performance,
which is what I expect,
the game will not sell well because the core audience will not be happy.
True.
And the trust will be gone.
Yep.
So what can Tripwire do as a compromise? The best thing Tripwire can do is communicate with the community or the core audience and delay the game for a few months while also showing a detailed roadmap.
Again, I wouldn't trust a roadmap. I mean, it'd be nice if they put it out. I would certainly like to see that, but I trust more of the actions that they take rather than the words that they say. For me, that's a me thing. It's the same. This is the same reason why I never pre-order games anymore. I stopped pre-ordering games back when I watched Angry Joe reviews back in 2010, where he explained very simply this concept of you shouldn't buy a game until it's fully released because otherwise you're paying full price for an unfinished product, which is just silly.
The gameplay experience and the map layout should be the main priority, and they should use previous games as a reminder of how the gunplay should feel.
Right. I agree.
Tripwire can keep the specialist, but find a way to allow the player to choose what perks a character should have. The future.
Yeah, you could keep specialists, but like if you want, okay, like let's say this is a hard thing, like they must keep specialists, which I think they're gonna have to, based on how the build works. I should still be able to pick different characters to swap in between for my specialist. But you know what? You know what really sucks though, is that you have a small inventory of what you get to use. You only get to hold 2 guns. I don't know. I feel like we're very limited in our choices. Like the specialist system kind of encourages more restrictive gameplay, which is another inherent issue with the specialist system. But if you must keep it, at least give us a variety of maybe of different commando specialists or a variety of different support specialists. Like make them different. Give us multiple choices. Don't you dare just do there's only one commando specialist. If you're going to do this, do multiple at least.
Futuristic setting can still work. However, using modern weapons from the previous games can add more flavor to the gun variety and give players more options rather than only having futuristic Nerf guns. For example, the trench shotgun with Dragon's Breath would make a great addition to Killing Floor 3, as it is a firebug weapon and it is also fun to use. The most important thing that Tripwire needs to do is acknowledge the core audience of Killing Floor and do right by them by making this an authentic Killing Floor experience.
Exactly. I mean, look at the gameplay. Look at how he's already cornered, and it's already intense, and there's not a lot happening, to be honest. Like it's a really low, like it's Killing Floor 1, you know. It's an old game, but you see he's already surrounded and dealing with a lot of stuff. Like this still, to me, and maybe I'm biased, but this feels more intense than the gameplay we see in Killing Floor 3.
If the core gameplay is excellent, other people curious about it will want to invest themselves in the world of Killing Floor.
Possibly,
many mainstream games that have gotten popular over the years didn't try to chase trends. Instead, they did their own thing by knowing their target demographic and catering to their wants instead of trying to please everyone.
Well, the only exception to that I would say is Fortnite, because that was literally a cash grab, but they appealed to children, so maybe I'm being a little hard on that point. But yeah, there's something to be said about the fact that if you get away from the game's identity and try and copy another one, then you really should just make a new IP at that point. Because Killing Floor 3 would actually be pretty good if it wasn't a Killing Floor game, in my opinion. It could be just a generic horde shooting game, and it would have been fine. They didn't have to call it Killing Floor. They didn't have to use Killing Floor stuff and the characters. Like if you're gonna continue a franchise, you need to be honored. You need to honor the franchise, right? Because that's what brings classic players coming back.
When video game franchises try to please everyone, they lose their core audience.
Yep.
When I look at gameplay for Killing Floor 3, I see what corporate thinks a game should be. A live service first-person shooter trying to compete with the Fortnite or Call of Duty crowd.
Yeah, and I'm just so sick of the live service model. I don't play live service games. I really don't. I mean, like, so because of the way life has been going, I've had some opportunities to pre-record some stuff for you guys. So later on, starting in April, you're going to get a lot of pre-recorded material coming out of like me playing through games that I just like for fun for me. And I hope you stick around to watch me play through those games because they're really fun. I actually had a lot of fun doing that. But all those games are closed. Like there's no live shenanigans. Like it's a complete game. You get the full game. So same can be said for Killing Floor 2. You know, there's different stuff being played where you don't have to rely on a live service to have a good game. There's lots of game choices out there that don't require it. So the fact that Killing Floor 3 is going from a non-live service game into a live service game is to me the ultimate nail in the coffin that's making me not buy the game. I'm not going to buy Killing Floor 3. That's why we're reviewing footage of other people. That's why I'm relying on the wonderful small YouTube creator community, because dang it, I appreciate them for going through the process of getting this footage for me so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Like, you can even tell when he switches in between the gameplay. To me, that the Killing Floor 3 gunplay doesn't feel as tense as like Killing Floor 1, for example.
That's not what Killing Floor is.
Right.
And it's frustrating that Tripwire doesn't understand that. There's a reason why most live service first-person shooter games are failing, mainly due to the lackluster content that is given during the game's initial launch.
True. Yep.
I know I'm going to see comments saying, but Killing Floor 3 will receive updates and added content like Killing Floor 2. And let's call it for what it is. That's a scam. I am not spending $40 to wait for a game to, hopefully, get good.
That's exactly why I said that's what I was saying earlier. We need to get back to the expansion pack model. Make a complete game in its entirety. Then, if it's successful, start development on expansion pack. You should not already have your additional content ready to go and made with a timed release if your main game isn't finished. Complete your game in its entirety. Then you have earned the right to go ahead and do something else and add on to the game if you so desire. But if you release a half-baked game with not a lot of weapon variety, and I get it, look, Killing Floor 1, it only launched with 16 weapons. And not all those classes were there, I believe. Maybe I'm wrong, because I didn't play Killing Floor 1 when it came out. I played it a little later. But Killing Floor 1 was still the first Killing Floor game I played. I haven't played with my buddies. It was really fun. But if based on what I'm seeing in this game, you're intentionally locking content away so that way people who are paying the full price, or someone might foolishly be pre-purchasing the game. That'd be horrible. Those people are getting scammed and getting taken advantage of. I will for sure pick this game up if it goes on like a sale, because by the time it goes on a sale, it'll probably have all its bugs worked out. It should have more content, and at that point, maybe we can look into it and we can revisit this. But I do plan to keep making these Killing Floor videos up until the release date, because I think it's important that we share each other's feedback and we share each other's concerns, which is why I'm very happy. And if you're a small content creator and you're watching this, go make your own video about Killing Floor 3. I'd love to have a discussion about it and see kind of where we stand, because there's nothing wrong with the fact that I disagree with some of those points in here, but there's a lot of stuff in here I do agree with, which is important.
Killing Floor 3 could flop during its first couple of months.
True.
And after that, Tripwire could close shop and leave Killing Floor 3 to die like most live service games. What happens with most live service games is that they fall off after a couple of months. And then
that depends if it's good or not. Like I said, there are some live service games that stick around, or if they're backed by a big enough studio, they'll just force it to stick around. But I do see the point he's making. You definitely would want to make sure that you're making a game people want to play. That way the community sticks around. Because if the community doesn't stick around, then yeah, your live service thing is gone entirely.
The number of players playing will decrease over time.
Yep.
I don't think Tripwire intends to release an overhaul that can change the entirety of Killing Floor 3 to keep people invested.
No, probably not.
These updates will likely be new specialists, a few new weapons or maps, and
right.
Perhaps they will throw in a new enemy type.
Can we talk about how the fact that the invisible lady is just, I think she's called the Stalker, like how she's just not in the game anymore? That's a weird choice.
If the base game is not good, the updates and added content will not save it from potentially dying in the first couple of months.
That's because if they're not fixing the core gameplay loop, no one's going to want to stick around. The reason why a game like Helldivers works so well is because their core gameplay loop is fun, even if people do get tired of it eventually. Like, I don't really have videos of me playing Helldivers 2 because that's kind of more of an offline game for me, but that's still a game that I'll come back to every once in a while if I'm in the mood to kill some aliens, because the core loop is doing something for me that I enjoy. But Killing Floor 3's loop is not as fun as Killing Floor 2's loop and Killing Floor 1's loop. And I'll be releasing more gameplay videos of me just playing the game, not even talking, just like some silent gameplay, so you guys can see kind of the experiences that I'm enjoying out of Killing Floor 2 and Killing Floor 1, so that way you guys can be the judges yourselves of if you think it's better than the footage that we're reviewing of Killing Floor 3.
It is very difficult for a live service game to continue to stay relevant and retain the player population. It's
Right.
actually not sustainable for a franchise to chase the live service trend, because the amount of updates and added content will only keep people invested for a short period of time. Killing Floor 2 still holds up today because the foundation of what that game was built on is strong. To this day, I would boot up a match and still have a great time with Killing Floor or Killing Floor 2.
See how much more surrounded he was even in that one moment? How every shot mattered a lot more because he was already being attacked? You don't really have that sense of urgency in Killing Floor 3, I notice. It's very easy to stay away from foes because you have that sliding mechanic.
With the amount of negative feedback Tripwire has received over the past week on the Killing Floor 3 beta, it is safe to say that we've done everything we can to make our voices heard. For the past week, I've been reading and responding to comments on my Killing Floor videos, and it seemed like most people are on the same page about Killing Floor 3.
I think most of the community is on the same page, and that's why we're making these videos to educate people who might be on the fence, or like if someone had a good impression of it, so that way they don't get tricked into wasting their money on a game that's not finished and not complete. Now listen, at the end of the day, if you have fun with Killing Floor 3, you can go out and buy it. That's your money. You can choose to do that. But I think it's worth speaking with our wallets and not paying for something that isn't a good game.
In its current state, Killing Floor 3 is not ready to be released.
I agree.
I hope someone at Tripwire will watch my video and the countless other videos on YouTube critiquing this game. People are tired of the live service cash grab.
Yes, we're definitely tired of that. We're going to skip over the SpongeBob thing just in case it's, just in case there's copyright stuff. But yeah, no, it's important that we can just acknowledge the fact that Tripwire needs to watch these videos critiquing the game. That's why I'm happy to make videos showing off other people's videos and have kind of a pseudo discussion with them, because it'll spread the word and ultimately get our message made clear. That's why I'm going to be making these Killing Floor videos. You're probably going to see nothing but Killing Floor videos up until the release of the game, probably, unless an update comes out and I have to do breaking news or something.
I made a poll on the channel the other day on if Tripwire should delay Killing Floor 3 or scrap it entirely.
They should delay it.
As of recording,
Yeah,
80% of people want to delay Killing Floor 3, and 20% of people want to scrap it.
Right.
80% of people are willing to wait for this game to be good.
Yeah, I want it to be good too.
Which speaks volumes about what other people think of the beta. 20% lost faith that Killing Floor 3 can even be good with only less than a couple of weeks before it releases.
That's pretty bad. Because I don't know how many people vote on. Oh, sorry. Out of 176 people, 20% of that said no, it's not worth it. For those who suck at math, if it was 10%, you would just move the decimal by one spot. So that would mean 17 people voted minus. So that means you do times 2. Let's see. I'll do my math real quick. Is that about 34 people said scrap it? I'm an English major, guys. Don't come at me for my math, but still, that's a good chunk of people for a small YouTuber to get a poll with this many people to still have 20% just straight up hate it. That really, I think, shows the depths of how difficult it is to get people to trust you as a developer when all the footage is showing bad gameplay or gameplay that's not satisfactory.
Tripwire, if you're watching this, Killing Floor 3 will not sell very well if the beta is like the final product.
I agree.
Please listen to us and understand that we want Killing Floor 3 to improve.
Me too.
We care about this franchise.
Yeah, I really do.
Anyways, that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for watching this video, and subscribe if you enjoyed your stay at the Silent Lounge.
Perfect. Anyway, guys, so that's about it. I just was hoping to provide some more context and build up some understanding. As always, as I like to do with these, let's go to the comments section and see what people are talking about. Yeah, it's like this one, for example. Do you think one reason they make characters so ugly is so they encourage people to buy skins? That is a good point. In that case, they might as well bring skins where they have towels stuffed in the mouth so they cannot drop these cringe voice lines anymore. Yeah, the voice lines are pretty bad. At least we have Killing Floor 1 and Killing Floor 2. That's a good point. The real culprit is the Embracer Group. That's what I've been saying. Forcing gaming companies to go against the grain and completely ruin their franchises. I like this one. You have a noble heart, my man. Me, on the other hand, not so much. They made their bed and they have to lay in it. I don't care if they lose money, if the devs lose their jobs, if Tripwire goes bankrupt. We literally spelled it out for them. They knew what we wanted, to ignored us. They don't care that we love the franchise. I don't care if they lose the only way to make a living. That's on them. That's a fair point. If they're blatantly ignoring us. And I had a comment recently, someone who was politely disagreeing with me in thinking that there's not much hope for the game to be saved. And that's fine. And if you disagree, feel free to leave a comment. As long as you're not like rude, I'm happy to discuss with you. Like, if you like the game, that's fine. Like, I really don't have a problem. If you're someone who saw the Killing Floor 3 beta, saw the gameplay, and likes it, then go play it. No one's stopping you. I'm not. People are gonna get it. It's not like no one's gonna buy the game, right? My point is just as someone who doesn't have a lot of money, and especially because I'm in school and I don't have a job right now, I'm very careful about what I spend my money on, and I really am selective. And I just don't see Killing Floor 3 as a valid purchase for the amount of hours I'll get out of it. It's just not. It's just cost investment. It's not good. Every dollar I spend on a game should be an hour of gameplay, and I don't see myself spending. What's the price at now? Actually, I should probably check the price. But whatever the price is, I it's going to be, if it's at least $60. I don't see 60 hours in the game right now. I just be honest. I don't see myself playing it for 60 hours. There's not enough content to play for 60 hours. That's what sucks. Yeah, the game is basically the definition of let's look at what other popular live service game has and do that. Right. It's really just a copy and paste kind of a thing. Some people, here's someone who thinks the game should be removed. This person mentions when Capcom was making Resident Evil 2, the game was some 75% done until they decided to scrap it and start over. They felt it wasn't becoming the game it should be, so they started over. Imagine that. A publisher making creative decisions for their own game. Wild times. I mean, it's possible that they wanted to make the, it's possible they wanted to make Killing Floor 3 be the way that it is intentionally, but it's clear that money is the main driving force, which is unfortunate. So creativity is a secondary concern. Killing Floor 3 needs to be scrapped and started over if they actually want to make any kind of money, but that's not the intent. Yeah, they're not going to make money except from people who are just going to be dumb and buy cosmetics. I've never understood. I understand games need to make money, but like I've never understood the concept of cosmetics being a reason to buy the game. I've never seen a cosmetic at all that has been so good that it makes me buy a bad game. If your game is bad, no one will come and buy your cosmetics. Just saying. I really don't think anyone would. At least I wouldn't. Yeah, like this comment looks like it's pretty legible. This is definitely a financial decision. I agree. They struggled to milk money out of Killing Floor 2 for a while because cosmetics sucked, and then they started making pay-to-play weapons. That's true. Killing Floor 2 is not perfect, just for the record. It's just, I think, still better than this. They did address that it's there in order to make some money for game development and server upkeep. Right. They're rushing out Killing Floor 3. They'll rake in good money the first week from YouTubers and their fan bases since everyone wants to cover it, and we'll see if they make enough money to make it into a good game. Well, guess what? Hold on. They're trying to pull a comeback. Sorry, I can't read. They're trying to pull a comeback story, but if they don't make enough money because of all the negative opinions surrounding it, like a mustard gas cloud, Killing Floor franchise is cooked. Here's the thing. I'm not going to be buying Killing Floor 3 when it comes out. I know that's not a good strategy. I know if I wanted a lot of views, I would buy the game, play the game. And again, unless something changes, maybe in between when this video comes out and when the game comes out, something will change that'll influence me to buy the game. Or maybe I'll just come into a bunch of money and then it doesn't matter, right? But I don't intend to buy the game as of right now because I haven't seen enough progress that makes me confident that they're actually going to fix the game. And I don't think you guys who are watching this should also buy the game right now based on the state that it's in and the information that we've been given. Again, all of this, of course, is subject to change. The developers could completely surprise us, do a 180, fix the game. That'd be awesome. But there's going to be other YouTubers who spend their money on the game and go watch them. They're going to be big in those popular channels, and they're going to do all their stuff. You're going to have all the game journalists and the game reviewers and trying to get people to buy the game. And I just think as an audience member, especially if you're like me and you're kind of a lower income, I think that you should just hold on to your money and just wait for a sale. All right. I love Killing Floor. I love it a lot. That's why I'm going to be posting Killing Floor 2 gameplay as well if you haven't already seen some of them. And maybe even some more Killing Floor 1. We'll see how it goes. But I feel like yeah, I really feel like this person said, the issues are fundamental to the game. It cannot just be updated to get where it needs to be. And I agree with that. That's why I think it needs to be delayed. I agree. We should definitely delay it. If you're going to fix those fundamental things, we definitely need to delay the game. So that's what I'm hoping for. Yeah, and there's more people giving lists as to why the game's not good. Be welcome to read the comments. This is a really well-made video. I actually really like it, and I appreciate him for making this. So as always, guys, I'm Elwirfy. Thank you all so much for watching, and again, I will definitely be seeing you guys next time. Take care, everyone.